Professional wrestler John Cena has another opponent to wrestle with. He apologized to China for saying that Taiwan is a country.
After courting Chinese government for more than 10 years, Hollywood actually is sitting at a very big crossroads. What is that?
US take hardline position against China on origin of virus.
Welcome to Wei
and the Kathy
show. All right, good to have you back. So let's jump into today's topic. So first, there's this Hollywood actor who's also a wrestler, right? A wrestling champion, and his name is John Cena, and he, apologized to say China precisely. That shouldn't be China. That's just for the convenience sake. Apologize to China for saying that Taiwan is a country. So, Kathy.
Right. So he's facing really a very unique opponent right now. So why he apologized? Cena, he was the main actor in the newest Fast and the Furious show, and so it kicked off a massive in 8 markets. He's already got like $162 million, including China, Korea, and Hong Kong. But while he was taking an interview from Taiwan media, he said something like, actually, Taiwan is the first country to see this new movie. And that, really he make him to step on the minefield. So let's just take a watch of an episode of how he apologized.
我有一个错误，我必须说，现在就是很重要。我爱更尊重中国，更中国人。我很抱歉对我的错误。
You can see that's just part of it. Okay, the main part. He used 5 很 means so or very important. And he's very, very sorry. And afterwards, he, just continued to emphasize he's so sorry that he wants to make people to be sure that he loves China and respects Chinese people. So actually, the sentence is not wrong, right? He loves China, respect China. He loves Chinese people, respects Chinese people. But why he do that? And really because he said something that stepped on the CCP's red line, saying that Taiwan is a country.
Yeah, and just may I share with you my observation? It seems like to Cena, it's like he said something, Taiwan is a country, not realizing that the CCP view Taiwan as a province, it's a renegade province. And then it generated anger the entire nation. Okay, over all the internet, there's uproar there, strong criticism left and right, just like a wave of like a tsunami of criticism. He simply cannot handle. So, if I have to imagine, probably what happened at the backstage is his boss call him, John. What did you do? See what did you do? We're gonna lose our film. Apologize there. Okay, right now, do it today. If you can do the Chinese, that's even better.
Well, he actually, John Cena had been studying Chinese for many years.
Yeah.
So he can, speak pretty fluent Chinese. You can see on the web, YouTube channels. He's in China, on the street, just can really speak fluent Chinese.
Yeah, but the truth of the matter is, okay, in China on the internet, there's often this anti-Japan kind of movement by the people, anti-US movement by the people, and usually they are not. Okay, yes, there are a certain portion of Chinese people, maybe 20 or 30 people, we call them like a 粉红, what's that called? Like a red fence, okay? They would speak for CCP no matter what, or the so-called motherland. They couldn't even tell them apart. So they've been like that all the times, but they are only 20 to 30%. Most people, they just mind their own life. Okay, they want to see a good movie. Fast and Furious 9 seems to be a nice one if you like action movie. And they mind their own business. Okay, politics are away from them. They don't like to get into politics because the party says everything. They have no right. There's only a certain portion, okay, 20 or 30 people who are really brainwashed hard. They would speak out like that. Usually they do not generate a tsunami of criticism. So when that happens, the party is at play from behind. The party would instigate that because remember, the entire China internet is the intranet, is in the grip of the party. If the party want to unleash something, it will be unleashed. It will form that tsunami. If the party does not want to unleash that kind of response does not exist. Okay, it's everything just under the control of the party. Believe it or not. Okay, if you don't believe it, you can type it there. I want to see your comment. I just want to share with you my observation of China, being a person who grew up in China for 22 years and then, reporting China for another 20-some years. So,
yeah. So, and on the other hand, also we all know that in Chinese, in communist China, the media, the social media are all controlled by the party, right? So actually, believe it or not, Cena's apology video has now been watched for at least 3.7 million times. And it remains as flooded with angers posted by those nationalistic commentators or so-called readers, and some saying that one post is saying that please say in Chinese, Taiwan is part of China, otherwise we won't accept your apology.
Yeah.
And that post got about 10,000 likes. And also, again, the Global Times, you're starting to get familiar with this so-called media, right? But it's really the propaganda of the Chinese Communist government. So the global media, again, the Global Times, again, is, it won't be silent. So it had an editorial, praised Cena for timely apology, saying that it reviews Cena's willingness to uphold the value of China and sets a good example for all Westerners to follow.
Stop there.
Okay.
Stop there. Okay. That's exactly the purpose. Okay. As somebody who really understands China, how they handle this Cena thing, how they voice their protest or their criticism or their attack, the entire purpose, they want to get to that point. What just Kathy read to you. Okay, you cave in. You follow our word. You're setting example of obedience to everybody else. We have a home run.
Yeah, and also remember, it says that uphold the value of China.
Yeah.
Again, that's the CCP's tactic, is to really kidnap the whole China, the Chinese people under its wing, just kidnap them with the Chinese Communist government. So it's really not the value of China, right? It's the value of CCP to regard Taiwan as one of its provinces. And then on Global Times, it says that Cena's attitude is something for other Westerners, especially Hollywood stars, should learn from and follow. And it also wrote, Cena showed that he realized the importance of reflect the one China policy, principle, which is a red line for Chinese people. Again, see, it says Chinese people. It always, when it refers to actually the value, the position of the party or the government, it always say it's China or Chinese people.
Yeah. So, just a casual mention, really just a slip of his tongue, about this Taiwan is the first country our film come to, and that become very, very few people care about that in China. Okay.
Yeah, actually,
when this becoming issue is because the parties at work from behind.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if it's really a slip of tongue. Maybe he's just, when he says that, probably just from what he's thinking, right? Just speak of his mind.
His natural, understanding of the situation.
Right, and in his apology video, he didn't really mention other things. He was just saying, keep saying, sorry, and I love China and Chinese people, which I think is also from his heart. But the pathetic thing is that just look at how he, did this apology. So actually, it really is being widely commented or criticized in different media in the United States. And one of the free speech advocate, Suzanne Nozzle, yesterday he said that she said John Cena's apology to China is troubling, and she said that it felt like a forced confession.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's literally scared by his boss or somebody, and then rushed to do this. He really overdid it, right?
Mm-hmm.
His apology, even to a Chinese audience, he overdid it. I'm so sorry, and that's not just just that. Later, he said another very, very, very sorry, things like that. So yeah, it doesn't appear to be sincere. It just appears he's startled, he's shocked, or he's scared.
Yeah, it's just trying to really appease the Chinese people, but actually I think he's really trying to appease the Chinese government to hopefully forgive him, allow his film to continue to sell in China.
Yeah. So if we roll the time back by 19 months, in October 2019, you remember that? This is an NBA Houston Rockets general manager, Morey. He just put a 7-word tweet voicing his support for the Hong Kong pro-democratic democracy movement. This 7 words says, quote, "Fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong," end quote. Just like that. And it's very natural for any American to tweet like that. But but it just created a huge backlash from China, and you may feel, well, those Chinese people, they are strange. Your feeling is right, okay. But the fact of the matter is they're not strange. Just like this Cena case. Just say Taiwan is the first country we come to would generate such a big backlash from Chinese people. They do not generate a big backlash from Chinese people. They generate an intentional attack from the Chinese Communist Party for their political purposes. Yeah. So I think we should hold on to our common sense. If you're saying something, we should say something, say that. When there's this strong reaction or strong backlash, it's not our problem. It's not Cena's problem. It's not, general manager Morris' problem. It's not Chinese people's problem. It's the CCP's problem.
Yeah, and actually this is really not the first time that either the celebrities or the Western companies that touch the so-called red line by the Chinese Communist government. Other examples like the apparel brand Gap, right? Mm-hmm. Gap in a couple of years ago, because it in 2018 actually one of its T-shirt, the design is a Chinese map, China map, but it didn't have Taiwan, Tibet, and the South China islands. Mm-hmm. And they had to apologize. And others like the Versus and Coach, and a couple of other brands, and they all had to apologize in 2019 because they manufactured a T-shirt that listed Hong Kong and as a country.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in 2018. Chinese Communist government ordered at least 36 flight, the companies, the airline companies, to delete Taiwan as an independent country on its website.
Yeah, so you see this all over the world, for the government, for airliners, for them to drop down menu as they book a flight ticket. They need to be careful. They cannot put Taiwan there. They have to say Taiwan, China, or Taipei, China, or something like that. Otherwise, they're gonna receive this big backlash. And actually, as a matter of fact, this is a CCP's intentional tactic. They use this to train, quote unquote. They train or they call the foreigners, okay, foreigners, other people, to go by their rule, okay. So to many Westerners, it looks like those Chinese people, they're a little strange, right? Why they're so sensitive? Things like that. Your doubt is right. They are not that strange. They are not sensitive. It's the CCP's intentional way of training the Westerners to go by their red line, which they draw artificially by themselves. The West shall learn to ignore that. They shall learn to ignore that. Chinese people don't care about that. They don't care about that. And it is the CCP who just pose as Chinese people and keep generating this kind of incident, this kind of drama. So
and you may see some Chinese people, they seems to be sincerely care about that. It's because they were just brainwashed.
Yeah.
And just took the Chinese CCP's line. And but as Wei just suggested, maybe the company behind Cena did something, also asked him to do the apology. So if that happens, actually it's not surprised. Actually, that's the way that Hollywood has been interacting with China for the past, we don't know how many years. But actually, interestingly, recently, it seems like that Hollywood may be just reflecting upon themselves whether the dealing with the CCP government is worth what the investment. So
before you proceed with that, let me just give you a just one situation for you to how to say understand why we want to do this. Okay, in the last decade, during the decade plus period, in which China has risen to the status of a hegemon in waiting. Okay, with its business interests and political influence extending to every corner of the world, the Hollywood studios have not created a single film, big or small, that depicts the country with a whiff of critic or even real-world nuance. Right? Remember in the 2019, with this big Hong Kong, protest, young people ran to the front line and just even lost their life. It would be a fantastic story for Hollywood. Not a single studio even dared to pick it up. It's just a shame. But what happened now? We thought we inevitably were going to lose Hollywood, and to be honest, to the enemy, to CCP. What happened now, Kathy?
Mm-hmm. So Hollywood Reporter, one of the two major Hollywood industry magazines, actually recently published an article, and with the title of "From Deal Frenzy to Decoupling: Is the China-Hollywood Romance Officially Over?" So this topic has been been forbidden to touch for, actually this is the first time to touch such a topic. So it's really interesting for that to happen. So this article is for the first time to reflect on the asymmetric cooperation between the Hollywood studios and China. So, and the evolution of their relationship from excitement to lose. The article quoted the analysts as saying that the cash flow between Hollywood and China and Beijing actually has ceased, and the censorship in China is increasing. China has violated so many human rights and has been a minefield for Hollywood. So that's basically what this article talks about. And it really started with Chloe Zhao. As you may know, that she was the director. Actually, was awarded the best director at the 93rd Oscar. So, but it's very interesting. Behind the scene, actually, the senior executive of Disney's Searchlight Studio sent email to media, especially in March, especially asking them that when reporting Chloe Zhao and her film Norman Land, it has to refer to her as a Chinese director, even just say she's a Chinese citizen. Okay, and in the end of 2020, the company's public relation also just persuaded a small media to delete an old report. It's in 2013 that Zhao had a comment that China is full of lies. But unfortunately, this line is still being digged out by the Chinese Communist government-controlled media, and
it's archived in some other website. They dug it out. They still make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, and rest of story. Chloe Zhao was censored together with her film and the Oscar award ceremony by the Chinese government. So actually, the article also saying that the Western film industry rushed to China. They used to be, especially Hollywood, was fascinated by the Chinese magic wand, but now it seems the dream has been broken. And one of the former executive of Warner Brothers, Jeff Robinov, said that for decades China has promised to cooperate with a Western company that wants to participate in all areas of the Chinese economy. However, as far as investors are concerned, they have never seen this type of cooperation obtain any fruit, any form of security. It gives, just one example out of another that, like former Disney chairman of the board joined force with the Chinese government-controlled company to form another, like a Chinese version of DreamWorks, which eventually become a completely Chinese-owned company. Actually, this really reminds me of how they just transfer the technology from the, just transfer technology, right, in the high-tech world. That's how the Chinese government-controlled enterprise do that.
Yeah. So if you dial back by 4 to 5 years, and there are so many, just like what Kathy said, they form so many high-profile partnership company, joint ventures between Hollywood and Chinese film companies. However, now most of them, and probably all of them, fell apart. And what's the reason for that? A few reasons. Okay. The first reason is as the like a Wanda Group, a very, very big private company, they moved to Hollywood. They bought the AMC theater, right, for like $2.6 billion. And actually, Chinese government view that as a exodus of funding, exodus of dollar. They don't want that to happen. So they put pressure on him and ask him to retract. When that happened, actually, it's not like China is they have a whimsical change. No, it's because they're short of U.S. dollars. Okay, they don't appear as strong as as they claim. So because of that, the outflow money was cut off. Okay, Xi Jinping tried to stop all the spending investment in Hollywood and also outside of China. So because of that, they lose the money, and then Xi Jinping also told the China banks stop lending to them. This kind of acquisition usually they are fueled by the banks who extend the big loans for them to build up those. Partnership and then pay the bank back with the cash flow that the joint venture generates. But the China bank put a brake to it, listening to the party. And then other reasons is because of President Trump. President Trump established, just a tariff, even though that does not cover the film part, but the entire atmosphere changed. So now, hopefully, we say John Cena is one of the later, if not the last example, where Hollywood will have to cave into, CCP. But indeed, according to this report, actually, I don't know, I only believe it like 80%. But it indeed said that they were really like in the honeymoon, the two sides, back then, 4 to 5 years ago.
Right,
now,
but now.
Yeah, they are in the crossroad, all the joint venture fell apart. They cannot make money out of it. And then,
Yeah, and what they did was actually the article criticized Hollywood for being bought to be silent. And most of even the most outspoken Hollywood figures, they just stop shy of criticizing the human rights violations in China. And also the article analyzed how the CCPs entice the enemy to go deeper and take the initiative to attack. So what they do is really like we mentioned, how they try to form the joint venture to attract what they really want to do. First, attract the investment, and the second, attract the knowledge of this industry.
Yeah,
right?
They just copy all the technology that filming technology that Hollywood has. Right.
And because they really don't want to, just as the article said, the cultural influence of American film is undesirable by the CCP.
Mm-hmm.
However, they recognize the magic of Hollywood movies to attract consumers. So they use them strategically to promote the construction of China's domestic infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they do it. So actually, as I just mentioned, I think it really reminds us of how the CCP controlled enterprise to steal the technologies in the high-tech world. And another thing is it actually reminds me of a Murdoch, the media tycoon. The owner of the major shareholder of a News Corp. Remember, Robert Murdoch had been working in China for like over 20 years. He really hoped to occupy, to really enter the Chinese market. But actually, after a while, he found that opening the Chinese market, he can't do it alone, right? Because there's so much political factors. So what he did was in 1996, he introduced Liu Changle. This Liu had a Chinese military background. So he introduced Liu into his investment as a strategic investor and established Phoenix Satellite TV. So, but actually the structure of the company, Murdoch's company doesn't really control it. But this trick actually worked. In the following years, he was able to really get some progress in like landing in the mainland China, get several TV channels into Guangdong,
Southern China only, and
right?
This hotel, hotel is called a closed loop hotel TV channels.
Right, but only entertainment programs. But one thing happened in 2005. It really just destroyed his whole plan. What happened was that Murdoch bought out the prime time of a regional satellite TV, Qinghai, very rural area, right? And put on his program. But he thought in this way he can cover the China. But this move actually violated the red line. So the authority just cut it off immediately, and then nothing for him he cannot make any progress anymore. In the meantime, the authority also just put out more strict rules to restrict any foreign media company to really broadcast news program in China. So that really just broke his China dream. And by 2005, just a few years ago, he just had to sold Phoenix shares.
And walk away.
So
basically, the shrewd Murdoch did everything he thought he can, and by partnering with this military officer called Liu Changle, now is the CEO of the Phoenix TV. And then I tried to, get his way into China. Finally, this Murdoch, as you know, he's the owner of Fox News, right? And they say you can come in, only entertainment, no news. We don't want your news. And then finally they gave up, and he gave up. So this is what happened, to any media who try to enter China. They just have no way. And then in the case of this Hollywood, I think it's so fortunate, Hollywood now is sort of at a crossroads at this time. I hope they pick it right, because if they don't, two things happen to Hollywood. First, when they give up their value, when they give up their position,
and give up basically their freedom of the freedom of speech and the freedom of thoughts, right? They had to just restrict themselves, censor themselves.
Self-censor at every script, and then by doing that, Hollywood lost its soul, right? Lost its soul. And then, that aside, with that coming into China, they're going to force a partnership. Then they say, if you want the market of China, you have to give us all your intelligence property, intellectual property. Okay, they have to transfer all the technology to China. That's how China grew so fast in the last 2 decades. They just simply, without paying anything, they just forced the transfer of technology from the Western company into China, Chinese correspondent. Then they kick out this partner. They own the whole thing. This is like basically 抢劫. What is 抢劫? It's just like a
Rob.
Just rob. Just open
Robbery
in the name of the state, in the name of the country.
Yeah,
so Hollywood's going to lose its body too. It's going to lose its soul. It's going to lose its body. By partnering with CCP long enough, they're going to lose everything.
Lose money as well.
Yeah, they're going to lose their core. There will be what China would in China, which will overshadow them because they have all their technology with the supporting of the state's country's money, and then they're going to crush Hollywood. So,
yeah, and also I think on a higher level, if we just take a look of the United States China policy, which is just really the Hollywood thing or the technology or trade is really just a part of the China policy, which has been had failed because people just thought, oh, as long as we just we have to keep trading with China, we introduce the Hollywood into China, and then when China become more, people can have more money, they would require, in the China. When the economy in China develops and flourish, and then our the value of democracy and freedom will also go along with the trade and exchange into China. But people who think that way really don't understand the nature of Chinese Communist Party. They want your money, they want your technology, they want your knowledge and the skills, but they don't want your value. Yeah. So let me give my comment. This issue really, this Hollywood issue really highlight the pitfall that we have and American have regarding the China policy. Okay. So I have 2 observations. First, America never determined to terminate communism. Okay. Of course, yeah, it did. It defeated the Soviet Union, right? And then in that sense, it won the Cold War. But I think America engaged the Cold War defensively because they were attacked, they were threatened. America never realized how evil, how vicious communism is, and the free world should proactively terminate it. All right, but America, our country, we did not realize that because it's very far away. Communism is very far away. We don't deal with it. We don't battle with it every day and on our street. So America never realized they need to do that. On the other hand, even President Trump, to be honest, Trump does not like CCP's way to do business. So he took a very harsh hand on them. But that indeed hit on their most vulnerable spot. If Trump would got reelected, I think he's gonna very likely terminate communist China without being intentional to terminate that. He just doesn't want their way, their just fraudulent way of doing business. Then when it comes to the Biden administration, I think Biden, their China policies engage and compete and fight whenever we feel necessary. So they view China as a competitive neighbor. Okay, or a neighbor with some bad intention, try to disrupt the social order in this town, and that's one wrong way to view that. CCP is a criminal. It's a criminal who would never stop, subverting the free world. Just in the last few decades, remember that in the late 1940s, when CCP was fighting with the nationalists at that moment. Okay, this Snow, what's his English name? Edgar Snow.
Edgar Snow went to China and visited the communist so-called country, and then wrote this book to mislead Americans. And then at that time, the end result of all those those leftist journalists' work, it misled America to take the wrong side. At the most fires period of the 1948. While the PLA, CCP's People's Liberation Army received all the weapons from Soviet Union, including the weapons from the surrender, the Japanese army who surrendered. They got all those equipment. Truman administration has an arm embargo on the Nationalist Party. Essentially, that's one major, probably the most important reason how nationalists lost China to the CCP. And then, so in that sense, America really helped CCP, right, in that situation. Then later, when China has this this border clash with the Soviet Union, when they broke up with each other, Soviet Union was ready to actually invade and attack CCP because they don't like this little brother suddenly become a renegade. It is America who threatened the Soviet Union. Do not take that action because we won't allow you. In that sense, it also saved the CCP. The third time is the 1972 when Nixon visited China, okay, and Mao Zedong, really basically saying, we are so poor, please help us out. And so America helped Mao Zedong, helped Deng Xiaoping to bring this so-called modernization of China. So in that sense, America saved CCP the third time. In the mind of CCP leaders, they know this, they all know this, but they are never thankful because their destiny is to terminate US, which is the leader of the free world. They never give up that ambition, that goal. That's in the genes of the communism. No matter how much they help you, America help you, they will terminate America if they can. Okay, if they cannot, they will play humble, they will wait, they will be patient, they will have their real strategic patience. But when they have their way, they're gonna do the kill. This is essentially what the CCP is. It's an ill-intentioned, vicious criminal in the town. It's not a neighbor. It's not your neighbor. It's our neighbor. So we Americans really need to realize that. And then, I was debating with a veteran journalist, right, Chen Kai of the Radio Free Asia the other day, and he said America is a gentleman, and the CCP is a 流氓. What's 流氓? Rascal.
Thug.
A thug. He said in the Chinese culture, gentlemen never win over a thug because thug does not go by the rule. Gentleman does go by the rule. The gentleman would never win. American will fail. And my answer is no. No. Normally, yes. But if the gentleman has a clear view, clear understanding of this what thug is, gentleman has esteem, has power, has reputation, has resource. If the gentleman decide to terminate a thug, the gentleman can do that. It is oftentimes the gentleman did not recognize that. So the thug will use all kinds of ways to finally undermine this gentleman and finally kill him. So that's kind of a situation. The reason why we keep doing this program in Chinese and in English is we try to convey this to American people, that we have to have a clear reading of what is CCP and why that's different from China. It's a very, very vicious force who just dream of terminating US if there's any moment possible. So, yeah, but anyway, free world, we should be clear-minded. That's what I mean. I don't know whether you agree with what I say. That's really my observation, and share with us your thought. And I also want to thank
Theo.
Theo. Wolfgang, you donated again, and then also Theo. I'm sorry, Theophrastus. I think that's a Greek figure, right? I'm sorry, I don't know that name.
Really appreciate your support.
For your support, really appreciate that.
Yeah, and the DM said, "Wei, are you concerned about CCP going after you for speaking the truth?"
Everybody would have that kind of fear if you speak openly. I went through that thinking process 22 years ago, back in 1999. That's when I first I put my software development engineer job and started engaging in media. I faced that fear from day one. My way of taking that is I overcome that fear. I don't let it impact me, and
Yeah, because the CCP, that's how they try to control people, is use the fear.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't fear don't be afraid of them, then they can't control you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also here, this is, I got, let me see. I really want to read this comment, just bear with me. And and a revolution from Marbad.
Oh.
Wow, you guys have been strangled in the algorithm. I haven't seen an episode of yours in ages. So
Wow.
good to see you again. Guys, on 8/24, which is 24 minutes after our show, I got this notice because I subscribed myself. Okay, only on the 24th minute, I got this notice saying that the show is there. And in the meantime, Kathy actually captured two screen.
Yeah.
Do you have that?
It's on my phone. I didn't bring it with me.
Let's do it next time.
Yeah, but I just
Describe what
it's
happened.
It's just caught on site. Okay, what happened was remember just we published. Actually, our colleague, our team member, helped us to publish one piece of our last show, and just a shorter version. And then he let me know. So I had been like checking on like how it's performing, right? So actually it's yesterday, right? Yesterday morning, when I checked on the app, the YouTube app, it has a viewership of I think it's around 8 o'clock, somewhere like that. 8 in the morning, had a viewership about, I remember the number, 1,005. Okay, 1,005.
Okay.
At around 8 a.m., I think. Then about, almost like 50 minutes later, I just thought, I just check again, right? And then I just like go into the next page, right? And it shows like a 980 some. It's decreased. The number of views decreased. So I was like immediately alert. So I went back to the previous page. I took a screenshot. Then I just close out the app, went in again. I just want to make sure what's the current viewership. And the number indeed decreased to 980 some. So I took the screenshot again. So it's just the evidence of how they just decreasing our viewership just within a matter of 50 minutes. They just subtract some of the numbers.
Sounds like what happened on November 3rd. Yeah, right. We play that kind of evidence there to our Chinese audience, and yeah. So next time we'll show that to you. So this is our reaction. Okay. First, we are working on building our own website, and then at that time we would ask you for your email, and then we'll send you email so that I can get a hold of you, and you can come to our website and watch the video, and yeah, that's our way of dealing with that. Anyway, so we just need to figure out a way to deal with this kind of shadow banning, and
there's another viewer said YouTube has stolen an entire day worth of views from me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it just right.
Okay. And Twinkly, you said Wei and Kathy, a lot of people following audit channels for Arizona. Okay, sure. Yeah, we should tap into that. We should report that to you next time. And yeah. Anyway, so that's what happened. And but it's okay. We've been dealing with that for 22 years. Before it was only with the CCP. Now it's happening in this country.
Yeah. So revolution from Marbad. Yeah. Good to see you again, and I hope you will come back again. And
Thomas Rodriguez, I'm sorry if I read your last name wrong. You said recently found your channel and I really enjoy your newscast. Thank you.
So we're still getting new viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're losing subscription per analytics of YouTube, but thank you for being with us. All right. I think that's all for today.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much for being with us again, and take care. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.